Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Coal protagonists are calling for squandered South African coal to be declared strategic, with the mineral's attributes to be used to build the economy of Southern Africa. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer is in the studio to unpack this issue. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Firstly, why are people calling for this mineral to be called strategic?
Well, they think it's very valuable, particularly as we're reaching peak oil and the oil price is rising. It's giving a lot of leeway to using coal. And of course, coal can be used to produce oil and can be produced to produce diesel and all the other transport fuels, along with, a treasure chest of chemicals. So they're saying, look at it strategically. Don't just give us away, because all the world is burning it. Particularly the energy coal that we send out from South Africa, and a lot of the energy coal we use becomes CO2, which is currently a world curse.
You mentioned in this week's Mining Weekly publication that coal can make a myriad of other contributions to the economy. Can you tell us more?
Yes, and this all came out at the Fossil Fuel Foundation. I think they've got to be credited with bringing coal to the fore, because coal was getting a bad name as a provider of climate change through its CO2. And what wasn't looked at was the massive contribution that can be made from coal, other than just burning it, where you're losing 63% of its value. So, firstly, Sasol has taught us that you can have a wonderful array of chemicals that can be produced from coal, and they do it already. So in a way, South Africa are world leaders in this. You can also have that important transport fuel. You have that synthetic fuel, which is often minus all the sulfur and all the nasties that pollute the atmosphere. That sulfur is normally taken out in advance. So it's a very important thing. We even fly on coal. I mean, South Africans are now flying on coal because, Sasol has managed to get accreditation for its aircraft fuels. And then, coal is important for steel making, which is very strategic throughout the country. Low price steel is very important, and that's normally done with coking coals, etc. And it also has to be used in producing cement, and we're probably covering a very small portion of potential uses.
Now, what has the response from government been to this call?
Well, it was interesting. The government was represented quite well at the Fossil Fuel Foundation meeting that they had, the conference that they had. And even during his speech there, the new Deputy Minister of Mineral Resources, Godfrey Oliphant, sort of posed the question, should we really go ahead and maybe make this a strategic mineral? That was the tone of the speeches coming through, and that is the thinking of government at the moment. Government thinking has changed on coal. The government thinking is now that, we've got peak oil, let's do something more with our coal. And if we keep just sending it out, because the demand is there, the Chinese will take it, the Indians will take it, even if it's low grade, let's rather see what we can do with it at home. Also talk to our neighbors, Botswana and other neighboring countries, about, doing something for Africa on this to get much more added value from it. And the Department of Energy was also represented at the Fossil Fuel Foundation, and they called on the coal industry to mine the coal more responsibly, because people claim that a lot of good coal is being left in the ground because there isn't sort of a ready market for it. And then, what happens to that coal? It's sterilized for all time. There's also coal that you can't really mine, but you can get the gas from it, and that gas can, run a power station in a better way than coal does, with a less of a CO2 footprint.
So what do you think is next for coal?
I think we're going to see coal treated with far more respect in South Africa. You hear Eskom as well saying, yes, make sure that you declare this a strategic mineral. We also see that the first mining objective of the state mining company is to make sure that it mines coal and also uranium. So it's looking at the energy space. And now we hear from the Economic Development Minister, Ebrahim Patel, with his new growth path, that he wants the state mining company to do a lot more that is developmental with our natural resources, with minerals and metals and minerals like coal. So a lot of eyes are on what we can do to make sure we add value at home. And that is the current emphasis, and it's sort of come upon us quite suddenly. For years and decades we've been saying, let's do more with our natural resources, and all of a sudden in like 2 weeks we've been bombarded with statements from the government saying, should this be strategic? Possibly it will be strategic, coal will be. We've got Eskom saying, yes, you must declare it a strategic mineral. We've got the state mining company rushing out and starting its first coal mining project. And you've got Ibrahim Patel saying, this must be developmental, and that we should go into stage 4 beneficiation. And stage 4 beneficiation, I've never heard of it before, but that is converting a metal or a mineral to a finished product. So, he's looking to, if in the coal sense, that would be chemicals, and it would be transport fuel, and what Sasol does. They want more of the same.
Looks like everyone wants to be on the coal bandwagon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin.
Great. Thanks, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insight into what's happening in the mining world.